Hello, Scott Baker here with the Montgomery County Republican Party, Precinct 23 Chair and candidate for County Chair. We've got a new video for you here today. Some new developments last week in the CEC meeting, the continuing ongoing saga of the failed censure motions. The title of this video is Rules for Thee, Not for Me. Republican Kingmakers caught red-handed breaking their own rules yet again. That's right, we're breaking the rules once again in the CEC for the Montgomery County Republican Party. So, what's going on? Tuesday, December 2nd, at the CEC meeting, Precinct Chair and Steering Committee member Herschel Williams motioned to deny support to Representatives Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell Jr. The motion passed 43-21. This action is a direct violation of CEC bylaws. This is part of the continuing effort by the county chair and members of the CEC to weaponize the party rules against Republican candidates they don't like. In January 2024, the county chair, the steering committee, which included former vice chair John Boucher, who's running against Will Metcalf for HD 16, and members of the CEC coordinated an effort to censure two Montgomery County state reps, Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell Jr. Initially, County Chair Gwen Withrow decided to proceed with RPT Rule 44 censures, which, if passed, would allow the county chair to remove censured candidates from the primary election ballot. These are the minutes from the steering committee meeting in January, where the chairman states, "Party is going forward with censure of Representatives Metcalf and Bell. There was no vote in the CEC or the steering committee to proceed with these censures. This was unilaterally decided by the county chair, Gwen Withrow. She now claims that this didn't happen, that this was just the CEC members attempting to censure, but she 100% initiated it herself." The county chair then created an ad hoc committee to draft the Rule 44 resolutions of censure. That ad hoc committee was never approved by the CEC as required by CEC bylaw 7.20. Here's 7.20. The steering committee may establish such special or ad hoc committees as it deems necessary, subject to confirmation by the CEC. That ad hoc committee was never approved by the CEC. No motion was ever made. It's a violation of the bylaws. The committee then drafted an RPT Rule 44 censure for each candidate. The committee never posted a notification of meetings on the CEC website as required by the CEC bylaw 7.22. Right there at the bottom. What does that say? In the highlighted part, notice for all committee meetings shall be published on the MCRP website at least 3 days before the scheduled meeting. No notice of meeting was ever scheduled. Somehow, this committee, that was a violation of the bylaws to begin with, met in violation of the bylaws and drafted a resolution, two resolutions of censure, without ever notifying the CEC. Another violation of our bylaws. The committee then hand-delivered the RPT Rule 44 resolutions of censure to each representative while they were in Austin. This was while the legislative session was going on. Here is a copy of the resolution that was hand-delivered to Representatives Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell in Austin. You'll notice that nowhere in this resolution of censure is it mentioned or alleged that they violated Republican Party rules. That's important later on. But what it does say is that the Montgomery County Republican Party asks for Penalty 3. That is removal from the ballot. Penalty 3 is a direct request to give the county chair the authority to remove Representatives Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell Jr. from the ballot in the primary election. They 100% requested and attempted to remove them from the ballot. Now they're denying it. Here is the letter acknowledging receipt of the hand-delivered letter to Will Metcalf. There's another one like this for Cecil Bell Jr. Hand-delivered February 25th, 2025 by Sunday Shibley, Precinct Chair 22 in the Montgomery County Republican Party. Representatives Metcalf and Bell then traveled from Austin to Montgomery County to attend the March 4th CEC meeting so that they could respond in person to the proposed censures. At the CEC meeting, Precinct Chair 22, Sunday Shibley, presented an altered version of the censures under CEC Bylaw 11.03. You do not have to take my word for this. This is the script that she read from at the March 4th CEC meeting. At the bottom, it says submitting a resolution of censure that applies only to Montgomery County per our bylaws, Article 11, Section 11.03. In it, she also tries to claim that they did not try to remove anybody from the ballot, which is false. Here is the Montgomery County Tea Party video. You can hear it in her own words from the March 4th CEC meeting, where she presented the resolutions of censure.
Sunday Shipley. Good evening. I am here to present a resolution to censure Representatives Metcalf and Bell for actions taken regarding the election of the Speaker of the House and the subsequent consequences of that action. I wish to refute the rumor that the party is attempting to rig the 2026 primary election by attempting to remove or prevent candidates from being placed on the primary ballot. Tonight's resolution is not seeking such action. True, the original intent was to present a Rule 44 resolution. However, due to a lack of clarity on the part of the SREC, we are instead submitting a resolution of censure that applies only to Montgomery County, per our bylaws, Article 11, Section 1103.
There you go. In her own words. Remember, neither version of the resolutions made allegations that Representatives Metcalf and Bell had violated Republican Party rules. So once again, we have violation of the bylaws and distortion of the facts. These are the facts. These are their videos, their documents. I'm just presenting them. Here is Section 11.03 censured candidate. From the bylaws, the CEC may, by a 2/3 vote, 2/3 equals 67%, of those present and with 50% or more of the members voting, adopt a resolution censuring a Republican public or party office holder or candidate representing all or a portion of the county. You can read the rest. The red section underlined indicates what penalties could be applied if 2/3 vote of those present and 50% or more voting adopt a resolution. At the bottom, you see the vote tally. What does the vote tally say? 88 people voted. 52 people voted for. 32 people voted against. 4 abstained. 52 people is 59%. 59 is less than 67. A lot less. Therefore, the resolutions of censure failed. That is unquestionably true. That is the fact. What happened on December 2nd, last week, months later, after they hope you've forgotten about the fact that this hasn't passed, and they've denied over and over again, during the good of the order, which is not even an appropriate section for such a motion to be entered under. But besides that, Precinct Chair and Steering Committee member Herschel Williams motioned to deny support to Representatives Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell Jr. This was not on the agenda, and neither the CEC nor the affected representatives were even notified. The entire motion is based on the failed 11.03 censures, which the county chair and her supporters, including Herschel Williams, including former vice chair or co-chair John Boucher, insist pass somehow without evidence or explanation. Here's the motion in Herschel Williams' own words.
Good of the order. We're moving on to good of the order. Do we have anyone that has anything to add under good of the order?
Yes.
This was clearly planned.
Chairman, my name is Herschel Williams, Precinct Chair 63. Back in March, we passed a resolution of censure for 2 of our representatives. In that censure, it was a county censure. It wasn't Rule 43 or 64. What is it? 44. Okay, good. It didn't go beyond here. It stays in the county, but it passed. It didn't need 2/3. It didn't need anything but a majority, and it passed. I have it here. If you disagree with this, okay, that's old history.
Seems relevant.
The thing is, here is my motion that I'm making. I move that we do not support them and do not spend our money and time distributing literature and signs for them.
Right.
And that is my motion. Sorry.
That motion is out of order. That action is out of order. By denying support to one candidate in a primary election, the Republican Party is in fact supporting their opposition or their opponent. In this case, Will Metcalf's opponent is former Vice Chair John Boucher, who helped write these rules and helped push these resolutions of censure. Undeniable facts. I have repeatedly shown that the censures did not pass. And I've tried to bring this up at multiple CEC meetings. The chairman refuses to even discuss the matter, each time dismissing my motions and my points of information and order out of hand. There is no provision in the CEC bylaws that allows for attaching penalties to a censure other than 11.03. And since, as I've shown clearly, the 11.03 censures did not pass, the motion to apply penalties is out of order and void. So why are they doing this? Because they don't trust the Republican voters. It's as simple as that. The county chair and the precinct chairs are supposed to represent you, not themselves. These self-appointed real Republicans don't like the people that you're voting for. You voted for Will Metcalf and Cecil Bell Jr. Will got 24,000 votes in the primary. That's 86% of the Republican primary voters in HD 16. Cecil got 21,500 votes in the primary. That's 84% of the Republican primary voters in HD 3. That is overwhelming Republican support. And both Will and Cecil have been endorsed by President Trump, Governor Abbott, and Lieutenant Governor Patrick because they were instrumental in passing the Republican legislative priorities and delivering the most conservative legislative session in decades. Why wouldn't the Republican county chair and CEC celebrate that? Reminds me of this quote from Margaret Thatcher. Socialists don't like ordinary people choosing, for they might not choose socialism. In this case, it's the Montgomery County chair and CEC and steering committee don't like who you're choosing, you, the ordinary voter, because you're not choosing the right candidate. Their candidate, John Boucher. It actually gets worse, unfortunately. Many of the precinct chairs that voted to censure and then penalize Will and Cecil can't even vote for them. That's right. Many of the people who tried to kick your representatives off the ballot and who are now planning to use the party resources to help their chosen candidates live in South County and will never see either Will or Cecil on their ballot. That's not just violations of the CEC bylaws. It's voter disenfranchisement and election rigging. Pure and simple. So what can we do? We are moving in the wrong direction under the current new leadership of our party in the county. The Republican Party has entered into very dangerous territory with these new rules, and they are new rules just the last 2 years, that are being weaponized, not against the Democrats, but against other Republicans. These are Democrat tactics and the type of methods used by the Chinese Communist Party. This is not the Republican way. This is not just about bylaws. It's about our vote. We can stop this nonsense. We need to get back to the Republican Party CEC working to defeat the Democrats, not other Republicans. We have an opportunity to vote these folks out of power in March and restore our party to sanity. We need to return to what worked for the previous 50 years of our party to make Montgomery County a Republican stronghold. That means keeping the party neutral in the primary election and letting the Republican voters choose our candidates, not political insiders in a back room. The Republican Party is the party of the people, by the people, and for the people. I say we let the voters decide. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Please like and share this video. Post your comments and feedback below. I want to hear what you have to say. God bless you. God bless Texas. God bless Montgomery County. And God bless the United States of America.